Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is B Agofure Word Service again. In this video we'll be making mermaid skirt from scratch. Now if you are an existing subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you are new, please subscribe and press the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload any video. Now you can see the things we are using for the practical. Now the measurement we'll be using is there on the screen. The places you need to measure when you are making a mermaid skirt, you measure the half length, that's from waist to either knee or anywhere you want the flare to start from. Then your full length, which is from your waist to the down where you want the skirt to the length of the skirt. Your hip depth, that's from your waist to the middle of the hip. Then your hip circumference round the hip, your waist circumference. Those are the things you need to measure. Very important. Accurate measurement will make your work or your skirt fit in very well. Now I'm using 6 yards of a fabric, but I'm using 4 yards actually out of the 6 yards. So the first thing you need to do is to measure your fabric with your hip measurement. That's what I'm just trying to explain them. Your hip measurement, and if you look very well, the hip measurement I'm using there is 45. So, and you divide your hip measurement by 4. So 46 divided by 4, you will have a 11.5. So that is when we want to enter the circumference. But for the fabric, you use your hip measurement, which is that 45, then you add 10 inches. That 10 inches is going to serve as your sewing allowance. Now this is another pattern. I have 2 patterns I use to make my skirts, of which one of them you cut your pattern, that is your pattern paper, place on your fabric and you cut. But this particular one, you can still use it for pencil skirt. You just measure direct. Now I measure the 55 and mark it up and down, and I mark it 55 up, 55 down to make it, I don't want any error. Then I fold it and I cut out that 55. I've marked one part, this is the other part I am marking here now, the same 55, and then mark it and fold, then cut out the 55. Now that 55, if peradventure your measurement, your client you measure is 40 plus 10 is 50, so you'll be working with 50. If it's 35 plus 10 is 45, you'll be working with 45. So that is it. So right now I'm cutting out that 55 as you see me doing now. That's the 55 I'm cutting out. Okay, so that is it. I keep the remaining fabric for the flare and other work. Now the step of folding now is this. That 55, I fold it into 2 equal parts. I hope you understand. Into 2 equal parts. Fold it into 2 equal parts. Now you notice that when you fold it into 2 equal parts, one part will be open while the other part will be unfold. Yes. Then from that open part, we are going to measure 1.5. Just watch what you will see me do now. Measure 1.5 from that open part. I hope you guys are getting it, because I want, after watching this video, I want you to make a perfect mermaid skirt, even if you have not made, or if you are new in the sewing industry. Now that's me measuring the 1.5, that's 1.5 inches. Why am I marking it like that? Is so that I can get a straight line because I will be folding this fabric again, so that one part will not be wider than another part. I want an accurate measurement. Now I finished marking it. The next thing, from that unfolded part, as you see me now, I folded it again, but this time I fold it to meet that mark. As you can see now, I fold it to meet that mark. Now the unfolded part is going to be the front. That's the front. It's going to be the front panel of the skirt, while the open part is going to be for the zip. Sorry about that. I thought what I am explaining, the camera is picking it well, but I didn't know it's not both. But that's the same thing I'm explaining now. So you see now, that is going to be our zip part, that open part. So that our allowance, that 1.5 allowance now, is our zip allowance. I hope you are getting it. And the front now is the front panel, that unfold part. Now the next thing you do, measure the half length. Remember, our measurement I'm working with, the half length is 20. So you add 1 inch for your seam allowance. Remember, we will be joining flat to the down, and we will be adding lining, so we hold half from the up, half from the down. So that is that 1 inch that we added, and you are going to measure that 1 inch, 21 inches, just like that to the end. Why? So that when we cut, we have a straight cut, so that our cutting will not be bent. So that is the 21 inches I'm cutting out as my half length. That little one I'm cutting from the down is that self edge, so you don't get confused. What is this woman doing here now? She's cutting something under. That's just that white, the edge of the Ankara. That's what I'm cutting out. So what is there now? This is the 21 inches I measured. So cut out, and we'll be working with that 21 inches as the half length. Remember, half length. So at this point now, we need to insert our horizontal measurement. Our horizontal measurement, which is our hip measurement, our hip depth. Our hip depth is vertical. Our hip depth, our hip circumference, our waist circumference. Then another important place I forgot is our new circumference. I will explain that. But right now, that is the hip depth I am taking now. We use 7 as our hip depth. So you mark the 7 all through too, to have it straight, because that's the part that our hip is going to stand. Now some person don't take it, and you see some skirt, after sewing, the hip will either be at the top or will be at the down. So make sure you take your hip depth measurement. All right, now you measure the hip depth 7 inches. Measure it from the top 7 inches. Then that is where our, you see now, that's the same 7 inches. Measure it at the side, you measure it at the front. As you see me placing the tape now, that is going to be our hip point now. When you are curving, when you are shaping your skirt, that's the place you will end your shape, because that is going to be the largest part. You understand? So now hip circumference, take it from the front panel, not the back panel, as you see me doing now. Hip circumference divided by 4, 11.5. That's what I measured now. Later we will add our seam allowance. 11.5. That is our hip circumference. That's our hip circumference. So you just add it. Just add it. Then you come to the waist, and we take our waist circumference again, which is 40 divided by 4, that's 10. Then plus 1 inch. That 1 inch I'm going to hold it out, because it's going to be for our dart where I'm holding now. I'm going to hold the 1 inch out. So we'll measure 11. Now remember, it's 10 we added 1 for the dart allowance, and I came back to the hip circumference to add 1.5, which is going to be our seam allowance. So I mark that 1.5, return to the waist and added that same 1.5, which is going to be our seam allowance. Then the next thing I'm going to do, we're going to connect the two mark, the mark from the hip to the waist. That's the mark from the waist to the hip. So just connect it. If you have a French curve, fine, you can just place it and curve it to jam that place. Then we go to our knee circumference. Now the knee circumference, because it's mermaid skirt, you must take that knee circumference where the half skirt length is going to end. Measure that place round on your client. Then the waist, the knee circumference, you divide by 4 too, and add the same 1.5 seam allowance. And that is what we will measure at the down. That's what I'm explaining in that book. So you take it now, you see that's the down of the skirt now, the half skirt length, remember? So we mark it, is 40 divided by 4, 10 plus 1.5, so 11.5. So you curve it, remember, you curve it, then connect it to the hip point. I hope you are understanding. Now we come back to our dart. Now you can use 4 inches, you can use 4.5. That's what I do, depends on the size of the person. So I use 4.5 here, then you notch it. Why am I notching it? I mark that place because I will be sewing lining. So when I sew the lining, my mark will still be there. So I come back to the zip allowance and I mark it, because after cutting you are going to separate the front panel from the back panel, so you don't get confused when you want to sew later. So finally we are going to cut out the little at the side to get our shape as you see me doing now. So don't follow what you mark and you cut it out. You see now, it look like straight skirt, and this is straight skirt if you are not adding any, if you are not adding fling, if you are not making mermaid skirt, this is your straight skirt already. So that is that. Now remember, what we are making is mermaid skirt with lining, So the next thing we do is to cut our lining. The next thing now is to cut our lining. And to cut your lining, what you just need is you fold your lining into 2 equal parts. I'm using 1 yard of lining here, but I'm not going to finish the 1 yard because we are working with the half skirt length. So because it's the half skirt length, we don't need to finish the 1 yard, but just fold it into 2 equal parts like you did for the fabric, as you see me doing now. Folded it into 2 equal parts, and I folded it again. But this time I did not leave any 1.5. So don't leave any 1.5 inches for your lining. On your lining, sorry. Don't leave 1.5, because the lining, the back and front have to be the same. And you carry your front panel and place it on top of the lining. Then you just cut it following the panel, following the size. You see it now. So just watch what I'm going to do. Just watch what I'm doing now. I'm holding the fabric and the lining together with my office pin. Why? Because I don't want the fabric to shift. So when I'm cutting, I will not have any issue. Okay? I'm just trimming off the little excess lining at the top to make sure it's equal, the lining is equal. Then you just follow as you see me doing now, just cut it. Like that. You see? Then remove the pin. So remember to hold it down with your pin. And that is that. So separate now the front panel and the back panel. As you see now, this is the lining and the front panel. So we are going to be removing 1/2 inch from the center front, like you see me doing now. Why? That 1/2 inch we are removing, you see some persons putting on skirt and the front of the skirt is just gathering. So we don't want it. Hence, we are just cutting it. Are you seeing it now? So you just cut it to have a little C shape at the front from the waist, little C shape. So that is that. So the next thing is what I'm doing now. I'm just marking the dart again, just taking it out. You know, I cut out a little, so that's why I'm just marking it down again. So this is the back of the lining now. So when you place the fabric on top, you see that 1.5 inches will come out. By the time we finish lining it, it will go in. You understand? So that is that. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut our flay that is going to serve as our mermaid for the mermaid skirt. And to cut the flay, we are using 90 inches. 90 inches. That's what we are using now. You know, for Ankara, the deepness is 45. So 90 inches folded into 2 will give you, the deepness is 45, yes. So when you fold 90 inches into 2, it gives you 45. So in case you are making mermaid skirt and the mermaid skirt is, the fabric you are using is by 60. So what you just do, measure 45, that is 90. Then from the deepness, you take 45 so that you can fold accurately. So that is the 95 I am cutting. The 90, sorry. That's the 90 I am cutting now. The 90 is folded into 2. So I have cut it out. That's 90. Now the 90, see me spreading it now so that you will know that it's 90. It's straight. So we fold it into 2, which is 45. Then after folding it into 2, you know how those old women used to tie their hair tie, that they will fold it triangle. So that's what we are going to do. Just fold. Look at what I am doing now. Fold it into 2 equal parts. Then you see, you take one edge to the other edge. Just remember how your mother used to tie those olden days hair tie. You understand? So that is it. Then the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to now insert our new circumference measurement. Remember, new circumference divide by 4. We are working with 40, so divide by 4 is 10 plus 1.5. Remember, our seam allowance is 1.5. So that is 11.5. That was what we used in cutting our half length at the nail part. So that is what we are going to insert here now, as you are seeing me now. What I just explained is what I am explaining in that book. So don't ignore the book. Don't go and say, yeah, I'm not seeing what this woman is writing. No, that's what I'm explaining now. All right. So what you do now is to insert it. Are you seeing it now? Just take your hand down. Just make sure and draw your semicircle there. Then measure it if it's up to your measurement. Now mine is 11.5. It's not up to, so I brought my hand down a little and I measure again, and at this point I got my 11.5. So for instance, if your knee length is 35 plus 1.5 will be 36.5. So that's what you are going to insert there now. You see, you understand, because that's the place we are going to join the down. That's the place we are going to join the down, the flared. We join it to the down of the half skirt length. So at this point we are going to be cutting it out. You see, so that is it. So after cutting it out, we now have our 11.5. The next thing is the length. Remember, our full length for the skirt, the full skirt is 41, and the half is 20. So when you subtract or you minus 20 from 41, you have 21. So this is 21 I am measuring here now. Then plus 2 inches. The 2 inches is we will be joining it at the top, and we'll be hemming the down. So that 2 inches will enter the joining at the top and the hemming at the down. So that is 23 inches. So that is it. So I measure the 23 inches. I mark, measure from the up again and mark to make sure I have a straight flare, so that after cutting, one part of the flare will not be longer than one. It's only the back that will be longer because we need tail, of which you will still see how I will come about the tail in this video. Now I mark and we connect. So like I said, the back is going to have tail. So for us to get that tail now, I'm going to open the side so that I can separate the back panel, the back flare, from the front flare, because the front flare we are going to cut it following that 23 I measured. If your own is 20, you mark your 20, 20, 20, then separate the back, the one inside, and you cut the front panel. So you see me now, I open the side and removed the inner one. That is going to be for the back flare, which is going to carry the tail, the mermaid tail. So coming back to the front panel now, remember we have measured our 23 and we have connected the line. So you just cut it following the mark, as you see me now. See what I just did now. So you see, this is the front panel. So we'll come to the back panel now, and we will place the front panel on the back, as the front flare on the back flare. Then we will shape the tail so that the two sides of the skirt will be equal, while the back will have that tail. So what you do now, just watch what I'm doing now. I'm shaping the tail now. Yes, shaping the tail. So at this point, if you want a longer tail, before you do this shaping, you first of all add fabric to the back. Open it straight, add fabric before you do this your shaping. All right? So just shape it. Back arm. You see now? You see, so that is going to serve for our tail. The tail at the back of the skirt. So that's just it. It's so simple. I hope it's going well. I hope you are getting it. Now remember, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. It is free. Subscription is free. Just press that subscription button and click on the notification bell, and whatever you want us to be uploading, just talk to us. Any question, drop it in the comment section. I will answer your question. So that is that. So we are through with the cutting. I will be going straight over to the sewing. Like I promise you, follow the video step by step as a beginner and you will end up making a perfect mermaid skirt. Alright, straight to the sewing machine. See you at the sewing machine. Alright, here we are. So for the sewing, we are going to do it the half length full lining. When I mean full lining, any rough edge is not going to show at the side or the zip part of the skirt. So what the first thing to do now is to line in the front panel. Just watch what I am doing now. Just watch what I am doing. I'm going to sew everything and I will turn it out. So just sew it like sack. I will turn it out. So I'm sewing it like sack, turning it. That's the front panel of the skirt now. The half skirt length. Just sew the lining like that, turn to the other side and still sew it. So you leave only the down open. From there you turn it out like sack. Okay, so don't forget to notch the top. Notch it just small, give it a little cut. That is notching, little cut, so that when you turn it out, that place will lie well. It will relax well, it will not be standing. All right, that's it. So just turn it out. I'm turning it out now. You see it? I told you it will look like a sack. So now, that mark we put for our dart is still showing. So when we want to fix our dart, we don't have any stress. So that is the front panel. Come to the back panel. For the back panel, the first thing we will do, I am taking down I find out that my mark is not that deep. So let me put it down a little. So that after running my lining, it will still show. So the next thing is our zip. Place your zip and mark where you will start your sewing from. Or actually, you can still measure 7 inches and just start your joining from there. So you just run it to the down, following that place you notch, that 1.5 that we mark. That's what we are sewing out now. So you see it, join it, leaving the zip part. So now, the way we sew the front panel, we are going to sew the back. Remember, the back now is 2 panels. So you are going to sew it like that. Each panel, you will run it like sack. You know that if you are running it, the other side will be inside the sack. When you turn it out, it will come out. Just watch what I am doing now. Please, any of your question, any comment, just leave it at the description box. I will attend to all the questions. I will attend to all your questions. Please like the video, share the video. See now, I'm sewing it like that. like the front panel. Now some persons requested that I make the video detailed. I should not just be cutting it. That's why you see that the video is a little bit long. Some persons required for it, and I hope those that made this requirement, I hope you are glad. I hope you are satisfied with it. I just find a little excess at the side, and that is what I'm cutting out. I remember notch the top so that it can relax. So you see it now. So it look like that front panel now. So you just turn it out, and the other side of the skirt, the other side of the back will come out. So you repeat the same thing on the other side. So at the end of the day, the up will be neat. So when you are making your pencil skirt, you can use this pattern, and when you are through, you don't need any weaving. Yes, you see now. So we'll do the same to the other side. Notch again, remember that notch is very important. I turn it out to see me doing now. All right, so that is it. So I throw with the lining, back and the front. The next thing we'll do is to iron it. So let me go and iron it and come back. Now we are through with the ironing. Now I just iron it following that zip, that mark, you understand. So now we fix our dart. So for the fixing of the dart, we're going to measure half inch. Remember we added 1 inch. So when you measure half inch from this side, half inch from the other side, it will give you 1. So that half inch you measure, then the length of that leg is 4.5. Just connect it and sew it slant from the top to meet that 4.5. There is no band, so I use 4.5. So we do the same to the other side as you are seeing me doing now. Half inch, you mark it, then you measure vertically 4.5 and mark. You see, and mark it. Then connect it and follow that your line. Now if you are still confused, you can go back, check from my video on how to make a perfect pencil skirt on my channel. I explain it. I even use ruler to mark it. You will understand better. So we repeat the same thing for the back. Half inch, then that leg 4.5, connect and run it following that your mark. So you have a little V shape there. So let's take the last one. That's that now. Measure half inch, then the dart leg 4.5. If you are using 4, you measure 4. Draw that your slant, mark it, connect the mark to get that slant curve and run it following the mark. Okay, so the next thing now is to fix our zip. Now this skirt is going to be bandless, so we are not adding band. So you fold the top of the zip so that it will be neat. Just watch what I am doing now. Fold it. Now one part of the zip is going to cover one part. I love sewing my zip like that. There's another way you still sew your zip, but this pattern is what I used here. So follow it the way I am doing it now. Just run it, this part now, just run it. I hope you can see it well. I hope so. Just run it. Yes, yes, yes. Then turn it. Now at this point, be very careful so you don't break your needle. So you just make sure it's not at the top, because every zip has a little stone at the end. So be careful with that stone so you don't break your needle. All right? So you cross it a little and you turn it to the other side. Now this part, you use it to cover the first one that you run. So just watch carefully. I hope you are understanding. Then the other part at the top, fold it to the way I folded it here now. Fold it. We are through with the fixing of our zip. Now you see it, one part is covering one, the zip is not showing. So that is that for that. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to attach the flay now. After attaching the flay, we will close it. That's the back and the front. We are through with the dart, the zip and everything. So now, notch the middle of that your flay. You can notch it immediately after cutting, but I did not notch it then, so That's why I'm notching it now. The middle of that your flare, notch it. Then come to the front panel. Fold it into 2 equal parts again and notch the middle, sorry. Notch the middle. Yes, you see what I did now. So what we are going to do now is to, with our pin, just hold the 2 places you notch, the 2 middle, the flare, the middle of the flare and the middle of the half skirt length, the front. Then pin it together, just hold it together with your pin. Then so you start running it from the beginning. Just run, use 1/2 inch or so to run it. Just join the flare to the half skirt length. That's what I'm doing now. Oh yes. So we are through with that. See it now? We are through with that. So we'll repeat the same thing for the back. But for the back, we will not need to notch the half length of the back. You know, we feel zip, so we already have line there. We only notch the flare, the middle of the flare. Then join it, just pin it and join the flare together with the back half length. So that's the back panel now. You see the tail? So that is it. So the next thing we are going to do now is to close it, joining the back and the front of the skirt together. So what you do here, just put the 2 together, then insert your real measurement. You remember we added 1.5 or 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. So at this point, this is where you will remove that 1.5. Remember, it will not be up to 1.5 again because we have lining it. So we have removed some. So what you do, just measure for the waist, measure the full one now. It's into 2 now. So your measurement now, you divide by 2. When you measure the full one, whatever is given to you. Now, this one now, we are having 42. Remember, our waist is 40. So 42, how many are you going to remove to give you 40? Is 1 inch. So you remove 1 inch from one side. Remove 1 inch from one side. Now go to the hip. This hip now, remember we measure 7 inches. That's our hip depth. Remember? So you go to the hip and measure the hip full now. You measure the hip full. Then our hip is 46. Also here now, I'm having 48. So remove 1 inches from this side, remove 1 inches from this side, and you get your 48. Then connect your waist now to the hip where you mark. So just connect it. Then come to the new circumference. Remember, we took that measurement, the new circumference. We took that measurement. So you Measure it now and also do the same thing. Do the same thing. Then mark it. You see now, when you mark, come to the other part, you mark. You're getting it. Then you connect it also from the hip point, that hip depth that we mark. Just connect it down to that mark. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Then from there, you just curve it to the down. So the next thing to do is to transfer the marking at the other part, because we'll be turning it or we'll be sewing it. So transfer the marking to the other side. As you are seeing me doing now. And turn it and connect it together. Remember that the down part is flay. So when you connect it to where the half skirt length ends, what you do is just to hold it down to the flayed part. So just follow your marking. Just follow your marking down. There's no big D there. Just follow it straight. Then you curve it. You see now. Then you curve. See what I'm doing now? That's the flayed part I'm running now to the down. I advise you, if you are a beginner, hold the back and the front together first with pin before you mark it, so that it will not stress you. You understand? So this is the other side. Let's do the same thing. You see? So I'm turning it out now. We are through with our skirt, just remaining the hemming. The final work is the hemming. You see, it's very easy. That's the back. See the tail? And this is the front. See it? So what we do now is just to hem it round. So if you have enough lining, you can cut it the way we cut the half length. Just place it, cut it the same thing, and just still sew it and turn everything. That's if you want to cover everywhere with lining. But this one, it's only the half length we add our lining. So you just hem it round. So that is that. Now we are through with our hemming. Our mermaid skirt is ready. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed, it's not fair. Please subscribe and press on the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload new video. So thank you for watching. Bye bye for now. See you in my next video. Bye bye.